Всем добрый день. Меня зовут Наталья Непорада. Я являюсь директором карьерного центра MGIMO. У нас сейчас с вами проходит неделя карьеры, в рамках которых наши партнеры и наши лучшие спикеры общаются со студентами и выпускниками и делятся своими кейсами, рассказывают о том, как быстро найти работу своей мечты. Я с большим удовольствием хотела бы представить нашего сегодняшнего спикера, Юлию Маквей, потому что Юля выпускница нашего университета, она закончила факультет международных отношений. Юля сейчас проживает в США и отвечает за дизайн тренинговых программ в Bank of America Merrill, и также является основателем проекта UpleveledBrand, который непосредственно занимается карьерными траекториями, карьерным развитием, и все, что связано с развитием человека как профессионала и поиском работы. То есть Юля у нас большой специалист во всем, что связано с построением карьеры. Сегодня Юля будет рассказывать о личном бренде. Несмотря на то, что я начала говорить на русском языке, вебинар наш полностью пройдет на английском. Поэтому преследуем две цели. Мы и учимся, узнаем полезную информацию о личном бренде. Это новая тема, очень интересная, актуальная, но в то же время она пока непонятна большей части студентов и выпускников. И еще мы тренируем также и английский язык. Все, кроме меня, сегодня будут практиковаться в английском. Также для тех, кто следит за нами ВКонтакте и на Ютубе, я хочу сказать, что у нас открыты чаты, и туда вы можете писать свои вопросы в конце своего выступления. Юля обязательно на все ответит. Поэтому не стесняйтесь, пишите. Юлия, передаю вам слово. Очень рада вас видеть. Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте. Thanks, everyone. I should say good day. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning in New York. I'm excited to be here with you. It's always a pleasure to come back and speak in front of the students. I know I was a student myself just a minute ago. We're not going to go back and talk about when exactly that happened, but it's been a fantastic journey. And I'm excited to have an opportunity to share some of my experience with you, some of the things that I've learned over the years, and of course, share my career path. So as you know, before I jump into my presentation, I'll tell you a little bit of my experience, my professional experience. I grew up in Moscow, and I attended MGIMO and Foreign Affairs Department of MGIMO. My major was Mandarin, and it was a trip. It was a lot of fun, but it actually took me to Beijing, and I spent a year studying Mandarin in Beijing. It really is truly one of the best experiences that I've had. After graduating the university, one of the things that my dad always talked to me about is you have to continue growing. There is, when we're in school, one of the things that we don't love is our parents are always asking us, what about your internship? Are you looking for a job? What are you going to do when you graduate? And you're thinking, wow, this is, when is this going to end? And the reality is it will end. It will end after you graduate and you get your first job and you become an adult. My dad never stopped. So thank you very much for that. He kept asking, well, what's next? Is there another degree you're going to get? Are we going to get an MBA? And so my next step was getting an MBA. I knew I needed a financial aspect as an addition to my education. And so I had an opportunity to attend Thunderbird School of Global Management in Arizona in the US. And I got a degree in global finance. And it was an incredible experience. I had a dream to work for Merrill Lynch in New York City. And I've never been to New York City at that point. I grew up in Moscow. I thought, big city sounds good. And I'm really looking forward to see New York City. It's so vibrant. And that was my goal for a long time. And in 2012, that dream came true. I was recruited by Merrill Lynch in their advisor development program. And I'm always late, always on time, detail oriented, a mess. So you want to be really intentional in how you build your personal brand and what other people think about you when they see you. And then I'm all about practical application. I want you to walk away with these practical steps on discovering, defining, and designing your brand. You have to be, and I'm going to say this 1,000 times throughout this presentation, you have to be intentional about doing that. It's not going to just happen. These are things that it's like goals that you're setting for yourself. You have to be intentional around the execution of these pieces. And then the last thing is, there are a couple of next steps that I'm going to share with you that you could take as you continue this journey. So what are brands, right? Brands have been around for a very long time. We're talking about 9th and 13th century. At first, we had a brand was something that was burned, right? And we think about cattle. Those marks on the cattle meant that it actually belonged to someone. So at first, when we think about brands, it meant ownership. So it belonged to somebody. Over time, it really transitioned into a notion of quality. If there was a brand associated with it, it meant that it was quality. And going from cattle to crates, for example. So if you had goods that were being shipped from one location to another, you would have a stamp that said, this is the brand. Maybe it was, wine that was being shipped or any other goods. So over time, we started transitioning into, if it has a brand of some sort, it had a mark, a certain mark, we knew it was quality. Over time, we continued transitioning in the corporate world, in the world of advertising, in the world of marketing, in really connecting emotionally. So there's an emotional connection between what you see as a brand and how you react to it. And that's what become a really big item for all the marketing companies over time. Now, it really did not exist, this idea of a personal brand, until 1997. And I really encourage you to read this article. If you go online and you Google the brand called you, it's easy to find this article that was written by Tom Peters. This is the person who started the entire notion about personal branding. And you can see it right here. Listen, you can read it. I'm still going to read it for you. I think it's so important that we realize that we are the CEOs of our own companies. They're called Me Incorporated. To be in business today, our most important job is to be heard marketers to the brand called you. So it's you are the head marketer of your brand. So this goes back to really understanding, how do I become, again, intentional about what my brand says out there? So let's just think about the personal brand. What is a personal brand? Perception is everything. And I know that sometimes we don't want to believe that. But the reality is, and it's going to actually reverse, right, as I say this, perception is reality. How you're being perceived by others is what is reality for them. So be very careful about what attributes you put out there. We love social media, and I know you guys are in the process of building your resumes, putting your name out there, thinking about what my resume should say. But be very careful also about, what do you post on other platforms? Instagram, what pictures are showing up out there? Because guess what? all those pieces come together and form your personal brand. So again, there's 3 components that we talk about when we think about personal brand. How do I perceive myself, right? First and foremost, do I know myself? How others perceive me, and that forms over time. But I can tell you this, if the very first time you meet a group of people and you don't know them and you're late, that tag is going to stay with you for a very long time. Now you are working against the perception that you just formed. So again, be very mindful of what you put out there as who you are. You might tell yourself, I'm never late. This is the only time and the first time, whatever it is you want to say. You have to realize that the group of people that doesn't know you, the only thing they know about you now is that you are late for this first meeting. So now you're actually working to improving your image, right? Your personal brand. And even if you were just a couple of minutes earlier to that meeting, it would have been a completely different perception. You didn't need to start improving your personal brand right away because you just damaged it just by being 5 minutes late. I hope I'm not overwhelming you, but those are little things that we don't necessarily think about and spend enough time thinking about when we're developing our brand. And then the last part is, of course, how do I want to be perceived? Yes, maybe how I perceive myself does not match with how others perceive me. Then let's work on that. That's the opportunity here. Those are the things that we want to achieve through these practical steps. So I want to walk you through a couple of brands as we're thinking about what are the brands that out there and what comes to mind. So play full out with me. Take a couple of minutes. I'm not going to stop. I just want you to think what comes to mind when you see a brand BMW. You know, when I'm thinking about it, it's, you know, maybe it's durability, maybe it's reliability, maybe it's quality, maybe it's status. So there are just some things that immediately pop into my head when I think about it. And you have to start thinking about yourself like a brand. So if I say Yulia, you know, what comes to mind? I want to get that feedback from others, what it says right now. I want to compare it to what I want them to say, and then I can create a strategy to get me there and bridge the gap. Another one that we see all the time is, again, maybe it's sophistication, maybe it's status, maybe it's significance. So again, start thinking what comes to mind when you see these different brands. I think this one is probably something a little bit on the newer side. I've been to these stores a couple of times when I could travel to Russia. You know, I thought maybe it was something like, well, it's high quality, but it's also different, right? It's not your regular brand. It's not your regular store that you're going to go to. So it's something different. I think their approach is it's healthy, right? They're trying to be like slightly different from other. It can be expensive, you know. It's another thing that comes to mind. As we keep going, Disney, you know, what comes to mind when we think about that brand? I think experience. I think family. I think fun. I think it's intriguing and magical. You know, it can also, some people will say, you know, if you're thinking about the parks, it can be, you know, crowded, overwhelming. So it's these different things that you have in the same brand. I think Starbucks is probably one of the most popular ones, right? Again, when I think about Starbucks, consistency comes to mind. I know that I'm going to walk into a Starbucks in Moscow or in New York City, and if I want, you know, pumpkin spice latte, it's going to taste the same. I I know that I can customize it. So there's an element of individuality that's attached to this. It can be customized. Again, it's an experience. It's not as much of an experience anymore because for the most part, you're actually not allowed to be in any of these coffee shops and spend time. But in the past, pre-coronavirus environment, you could sit in the shop, talk to your friends, spend time, maybe do some work. Let's look at this one, Apple. You know, again, we have people who are who love Apple, others that maybe, you know, are not that much into that brand. But for a very long time, Apple, to me, meant innovation. You know, continuously improving, continuously introducing something new. Again, you can, you know, maybe to a degree, it's evolving, right? And you can continue thinking through these. And of course, golden arches, mixed feelings are going to come your way, right? Mixed feelings are probably going to kind of manifest themselves here. You can say, you know, consistency, speed, and convenience. But others might say, well, it's not healthy. You know, it's something like a brand that's not very much appreciated in the United States, for example, right? So these are different things that come to mind. Brands carry a meaning, and you are a brand, right? Like we said, like when we started thinking about personal brand, it's me incorporated, Yulia incorporated. What does it mean? And how can I be very intentional in designing what that means? So I love this quote. I think that we sometimes, especially in our earlier stages in developing, going to school, finding our first job, we think that we're going to find ourselves. So life isn't about finding yourself. It's not that you're going to be searching and something's going to fall on your head. You know, it's like inspiration. Sometimes people think that inspiration or passion is something they're going to wake up with one day and find, and that's false. If you look at the research, that is absolutely not true. Life is about creating yourself. Life is about rolling up your sleeves and starting to do research and finding things that you're really passionate about. But you have to actually do the reading. You have to do the work. You have to put yourself out there in order to find what it is that you might be interested in. So love this quote and hope you guys take it to heart. So now let's jump into a little bit more of that practical part of it, right? We're thinking about, okay, I need to discover my brand. And what I mean by discovering my brand is you might not know what your brand is out there. And it's an exciting and scary exercise at the same time. So again, it's something that you should be taking away and working on later. Again, you will have all these steps, but playful out. You know, make it a mission for yourself to discover your brand, and then you can move into defining what do I want it to be, and then designing how do I execute on regular basis so that I consistently have this brand that follows me. Because I can tell you, once you establish a brand, and I will tell you from my corporate experience, you know, of a decade of moving through different roles, especially when we're talking about a large corporation, it's your brand that is going to help you grow. Because people talk, you will run into the same people throughout. And once you form that brand, it either helps you or it hurts you. So I think that what I've learned is the sooner you build a very strong brand, and when I say strong brand, to me, and from my experience in the corporate world, it's, you know, we know that Yulia knows how to execute. I rely on her. I know that if I give something to her team, it's going to be high quality, on time, innovative. So I'm not worried that I am putting my, and this is something that my boss would say, I'm not worried that she might not execute at the level that I would like her to, or I'm envisioning for this project. Now, bigger projects are coming my way. I design programs for our advisors. I design programs for our bankers. And what happens over time is I'm getting more and more roles added to my portfolio because I've created a system in which I'm approaching this every single time. People know that it's predictable. They know that we're going to go through the same process in developing programs, and they work. We have proof that they work and they deliver the training that really is delivering on the needs of the business. So these are things that then behind closed doors, when career discussions are happening and top leadership is discussing who is ready for the next step, your name is going to be brought up as either reliable, innovative, high energy, right? Energy is extremely important. High energy driver. You're out there, you want to help this business progress. You don't come with observations of what's wrong. You have solutions, and you want to be known as the solution person. You're the one who noticed that something it can be improved, and you created a plan on how to improve that. Wow. This is a completely different level at which you're going to be perceived in the corporate world. So behind closed doors, when the career discussions are happening among leadership, top leadership, they're going to say, wow, this person is really a driver. This is someone who's going to go places. Versus you might be low energy. You're not engaged. You are, you tend to slip, here and there. You might not be on time. You might not be delivering the projects on time. Guess what? During the same discussion, that's what's going to come up. It's going to come up with, well, yeah, I think that she is reliable. I think that she can deliver. But, there's this high energy. I just, that's lacking. It's just not there. I just think maybe she's not as motivated. This last project that she did, it wasn't really high quality. So again, you have to be mindful of how you are executing on your personal brand on a regular basis. So let's just go through the discover your brand. Again, playful out for me, humor me. Think about what it is that you think when people hear your name. So when people hear my name, Yulia McVeigh, they think or feel, and you want to think about that reaction that people are going to have when they hear your name. Is it reliable? Is it innovative? Is it always on time? Is it really driving forward? Is it committed? Whatever it is, think about what you would fill in here. Now, I think you should take it to the next level and go and ask people. This portion where you're trying to discover your brand is when you do the research. You can go to your family. Be careful what you ask for, but we're asking for feedback. Go to your family, go to your friends, ask a couple of people that maybe you have a mentor, and we'll talk about that in a second, having a mentor or an accountability partner or a coach. Go to those folks that you interact with on a regular basis. Maybe it's some of your professors. Ask them, when you hear my name, what comes to mind? that will allow you to have a clear picture. And your family might be a little bit, kinder to you. It depends on the family. Or they can be very candid with you and tell you exactly what comes to mind. So discover it, do a little bit of work so that you're comfortable with knowing where you stand. The sooner you know, the better, because you can either improve it or you can enhance it, right? You can either change it or you just make it better and you just continue moving in that direction. The other part here, it's not limiting. So if you have an attribute that you already have as something that's a reaction when people hear your name, then you can say, well, I want these additional reactions. If they think that you're reliable, I also want to be strategic. It's not just me reliable when I'm executing on somebody else's ideas. I want to be strategic. I want to be known for someone who comes up with these ideas, not just executing. So that's how you add an additional attribute to your brand. What else do I want to be known for? I want to be well-rounded. So to me, it's very important that me supporting others, maybe volunteer work, is part of my brand. And so I want to know, I want to find ways to enhance my brand by adding something like that. So you're discovering your brand, right? You're trying to, so you're trying to figure out what it is that you want to be, right? You're discovering your brand. Where are all these pieces coming together? What particular skills or talents are considered your strength? Again, these are questions that you can ask yourself, or you can go outside and ask others. What are you passionate about, professionally, personally? All these things are going to come together. And what does the company value, right? It's your values, and this is very important, and the values of the establishment where you would like to work have to match. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard for you to be on the same page with the company. So these are some of the things for you to keep thinking about as you're going through the process of discovering your brand. The next one is defining your brand statement, right? It's important that you actually, this is your roadmap. And again, play full out. Think about what it is that you would like to write as your brand statement. So it's the attributes you currently exhibit are the ones which you want to be known for, right? So continue thinking through that. And then what results do you desire, or results that you want to achieve? So tie those attributes to the results that you're looking for. So here are the 5 steps that when you're thinking about building your personal brand that could really help you. So you have to determine the result you want to achieve, whether it's promotion or it is continued development. Maybe it's the next step in your career, might be your personal development. It doesn't matter. You have to set a goal, and those results are your goals. Decide what you wish to be known for. Again, I talked about this. You have to be intentional about this. It's not, you can leave it to chance. Don't get me wrong. You can leave everything to chance. I'm not a big fan of that. But if you really want to be successful, part of your job is managing your personal brand. And I am absolutely 100% serious. This is not a nice to have. This is one of the most important pieces as you enter the workspace, as you enter your new career. This is going to be so important for those of you who are in their 3rd year and might get an internship next summer. As you're going through your internship, you're making a name for yourself. You're working on your personal brand. It's going to be so important for you to make a name for yourself during those 3 months or 2.5 months that you're there, that they feel compelled, your employer feels compelled to make you a full-time offer. So those are the things that I want you to continue thinking about. How am I perceived? Can I be more intentional about it? I think sometimes I do get a little bit of this feedback of, well, Yulia, this doesn't feel natural. You know, I just want to be myself. And the reality is you have to practice what you want to become. It's ongoing process of improving yourself. And although it might not feel natural to develop a specific attribute, it will become natural over time. And that's how you enhance yourself, you enhance your brand, and you continue moving forward. You know, you're defining your identity. You're saying, this is who I want to be. This is how I want to be known in the world. What are the things that I need to do to get me there? You then move into constructing your brand statement, and you own your brand identity. You know, this is who I am. I decided that these are the attributes that I will have as part of my personal brand, and I own it. I love it. If someone comes to me and says, Yulia, we feel that you're rigid, I'm going to tell them, yes, there are times when I am rigid. I'm going to own it. That's part of my personal brand. It's not going to be in every aspect of my work, but I truly believe that it's absolutely necessary. So these are the things that, again, you're continuously thinking through when you're being intentional in building your personal brand. So it's not an exercise that we're going to do now, but I want you to take this away. You know, write down your personal brand, and I'll give you an example of what a personal brand statement is. But write it down after this presentation. Discuss it with someone, you know, whether it's going to be a friend, a mentor, coach, accountability partner. These are all so important that you have someone like that. And then review it on a regular basis. Does it still hold true? Is it still the right personal brand statement for me in this time of my career, in my, in my studies? Am I on the right path? And this goes to your goals as well. I really hope you guys are approaching 2021. You're thinking about setting goals. Think about your goals for 2021, but start with quarters, right? Quarter number 1, 2, 3, 4, shorter timelines, but again, very intentional in what I want to achieve and how I move forward. So let me just stop here for a second. I want to take a second and talk about the importance of having a mentor, a coach, accountability partner. Here's why. We tend to be very kind to ourselves. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is we will justify not doing something, not moving forward with something. We will tell ourselves, well, yes, I set this goal, but I just really didn't feel like it, or it was a long week, whatever it might be. Like I said at the beginning of the presentation, here's what's going to happen. Right now, you have exams. Right now, you have professors. Right now, you have your parents who are asking you. They're asking you to deliver. They are your accountability partners. On a regular basis, they're asking, how are your grades? How's your attendance? What are you thinking about your internship? What do you think about master's program? Are you moving forward? Which master's program are you thinking about? What are you going to do in 3 years? What are you going to do in 5 years? And we get a little bit overwhelmed by that. But what's important is that it's not going to exist after you're done with school. Your employer, to a degree, is going to be your accountability partner. They're just not going to hold you accountable to your personal goals. So it's important that you develop a relationship where you can have someone who feels comfortable and confident. They can ask you questions about, well, what goals do you want to set for yourself? What do you want to achieve in 3 years? What do you want to achieve in 2021? And then you connect with that person on a regular basis. In my practice through UpleveledBrand, I connect with my clients weekly, and we talk about what have you done over the last 7 days to move you a little bit closer to the goal that you identified for yourself. It might be a career change. It might be a promotion that they're looking for. It might be in finding a new job if you're just starting out. But how do we continuously grow and progress? That's a huge question, and it's so important that you have someone who is comfortable asking you that question. What did you do last week to get you to the goal that you set for yourself for the next couple of years? Right? This is what happens is we get so bogged down by everything, all these details that are happening day to day, that we forget that there is a bigger picture out there. And then if you break your goals down and you start executing just a little bit every single day, you will move forward towards that goal. The example I give that I think doesn't get any simpler than that is if you have a book and you read just 1 page every day, you will finish that book. It doesn't need to be overwhelming, but you need to hold yourself accountable to continuously execute. And because of the human nature, we know it's very hard to hold ourselves accountable. That's why having a coach or an accountability partner or a mentor who can help you is so important. So don't fight it. If you have an opportunity to have someone like that in your life, it is extremely beneficial. So find one, and I can assure you, 2021 is going to be a completely different year for you. If you decide that you are ready to move forward, execute, be successful, and reach your top levels, you absolutely need someone who's going to hold you accountable. So here's how let's go back to the personal brand statement, right? Here's how you construct it. I want to be known for being, right? And there's a list of attributes, a huge list of attributes that I'm going to show you that you can select from. And I would say, don't go with more than 3 attributes that tell you what you actually want to represent in the workplace or maybe in your life. It's up to you how deep you're going to go with this. And then we talk about the results, right? So that I can deliver on whatever it is that you're trying to deliver on. So let me give you, here's the list of attributes that you guys can look through. I want to be known for being creative. I want to be known for being disciplined. I want to be known for being driven. Think about this. Every one of these attributes really puts a completely different notion. Because what we're thinking about here is, okay, if I want to be creative, what does that mean? What kind of results do I want to achieve by being creative? I can tell you, I never considered myself a creative person. I love control. I can be rigid at times. I like to plan. I really like to plan. And my family knows this very well about me. I like to have these big plans, and then there's smaller plans and there's tiny plans. So I never thought that creative is something that's kind of part of my nature. But it is. In my current job, I create curriculum for a variety of different programs. You have to be very creative in how it gets executed. But because it's not necessarily my natural state, it had to become part of who I am. I had to be very intentional about being creative. So it had to become part of who I am so that people, when they talked about me and they talked about the work that my team does, they would say, wow, that team is so creative. And in order for us to do that, we had to be creative in how we were redesigning or designing new curriculum, but then we had to market, right? You guys forget how important networking and marketing is. You can't just do it. You have to show the world that you did it. Again, some of you are going to say, no, my work just needs to speak for itself. And that's true, but it has to be good work that you should have the desire to share with the world. So marketing is going to be extremely important for your success. So think through these brand attributes. Take a look at the list. What do you want to stand for? Do you want to be known as someone who is disciplined? Do you want to be someone who is, nurturing or optimistic, or someone who is selfless? So these are different things, and you can come up with these combinations that really represent you from the personal and professional standpoint. Again, this allows you to be extremely intentional about what it is that you are delivering to the world, delivering to people at work and at home. So here's an example of a personal brand statement. I want to be known for being innovative, collaborative, and results-oriented so that I can deliver the best experience to my clients and partners and triple my business revenue in 2021. Now, tripling my business revenue is vague, right? So I would say it's a good start, but I would go deeper. What does it mean? What does tripling my business revenue really means in real numbers? And then break it down even more by how I'm going to drive it. But here I'm declaring to the world that I want to be innovative. I want to be collaborative. What does it mean? I want to network. I want to find new partners. I want to be known as the person who can connect everyone and really deliver this different experience that is innovative, right? So it's something that has not been seen before. When I work with the business, it's important for me to be results oriented. When I work with my clients, I want to be known to be results oriented. We're not doing this for the sake of doing it. We are really focusing on results, and we want to make sure that we're setting goals and we're executing to get there. So now, when we're thinking about designing your brand, how do we continue designing it? It's through execution. Again, it's probably my favorite word, intentional, right? As you become intentional about how you want to show up in the world, who you want to be, how you want to be known, that you have to continue evolving. You know this. It's not going to stand still. We talked about writing your brand statement and reviewing it on a regular basis. We talked about writing your goals down and reviewing it on a regular basis. You guys are in December of 2020. Those of you who are in their third year of school, next summer is your golden opportunity to start an internship somewhere. Make a name for yourself, and then get a full-time offer. How incredible would it be when you're just envisioning that goal, that at the end of next summer, you already have an offer, and the last year of school, you don't have to be really running around and trying to figure out what it is that you're going to do when you graduate, what kind of job you're going to get. You already have an offer. But in order for you to get there, if you haven't done so, to me, it's so important to embrace all the work that has been done by your career center. Natalia and her team has been working tirelessly to bring all these speakers together, to allow you to have this 3D experience where you walk around the marketplace. Think about, who do you want to work for? Who do you want to hear from? What do you need to know about them? How are your interview skills? Is your resume ready? Those are the things these are the practical steps to get you to that internship. And then your personal brand, right? That impression that you make. It's the first impression you make during your interview, but it's also the impression you're going to make once you start working there. And you walk into the door, you want to be intentional about how people speak about you. Wow, he's on point. Wow, she delivers on time. Wow, her communication skills are incredible. wow, I can tell that her education from MGIMO is really showing up in the quality of her work. These are the things, when you become intentional about how you execute, are really going to deliver. And again, it's not static, right? You're going to continue evolving as a professional and as an individual, and your brand is going to continue developing for the better. So these are all, to me, extremely excited pieces that I hope this was helpful. I hope you will take this away with you, put this into practice. Practice makes permanent. I know we usually say practice makes perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. So practice makes permanent. So take these steps away, try them on, see what works, talk to your family and friends, identify what's out there as your personal brand already, and then go from there. And so here are just a couple of next steps I wanted to share with you. I'm happy to connect with you guys. If you go to UpleveledBrand.com, you can set a conversation with me. You will see that it's all in New York local time. So it's going to be pretty early for me, but it's a 30-minute session. If you want to connect, if you want to talk about through your goals, your career aspirations, I am excited to work with the university and share my time as an alum who can really support you guys. So it's absolutely free. Please take advantage of it. Happy to talk through what your goals are. What are you thinking? You know, I can be that partner for you, that accountability partner. You know, keep growing. If you're not connecting with me, do find an accountability partner, find a mentor or a coach, someone you're talking to through your goals on a regular basis, but someone knowledgeable. I know that sometimes we tend to gravitate towards our friends. It might not be the right idea. Find someone who has the experience you're looking for. You know, set your goals and track progress. Again, it's so important that you have an idea of, what did I do today? What was that small step that I took today to get me to the future of my dream? So keep that in mind. What is that future? What does it look like? I will be the first person to tell you there are no limits. Things that I thought that were my dreams and I couldn't really reach them have become my reality and my day-to-day reality. So don't be afraid. And take charge of your future. You know, it starts today, by the way. It doesn't start when you graduate. It starts today. And that's the exciting thing. I really want you to get extremely excited about what you can do for yourself. So with that, this concludes my presentation. Let me stop sharing and see if you guys have any questions. I'm happy to hang out for another probably 20 minutes and answer any questions you might have. So let me stop sharing and see if I have anything in the chat. All right, so we have one question. Personal branding. Is personal branding for extroverts only? Personal branding is for extroverts and introverts. It doesn't matter. I think that depending on what you want your personal brand to be, you're going to be intentional about setting those attributes and deciding how you want to be known in the world. And I think sometimes being an introvert can hurt you a little bit, because maybe you're being perceived, and remember, perception is reality. You might be perceived as someone who has low energy, but you're just quiet because that's where you're comfortable. So you might have to be more intentional about speaking up, sharing your ideas. And that's something that might be as part of your plan in putting yourself out there and making your ideas heard. I can tell you absolutely nothing wrong with letting the world know what great ideas, solutions, innovations you want to share with them. Sometimes we don't do it because we're just not accustomed to doing that based on how we were raised or how we feel or who we are. But I can tell you, the world needs you. The world needs your ideas. The world needs your solutions. So please don't think that personal brand is limited to anybody in particular. Set your goals. Identify the attributes that you want to be known for, regardless of whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, and go out there and really show the world what you can bring to the table. Thanks for the question. Are there any other questions that I can address? Great. I'm happy to hear that you guys were inspired by this. Again, get excited. You know, it's a new day. We're supposed to get a huge storm here, by the way. You know, it's funny. New York doesn't really get snow anymore. We get scared by all these forecasts. They're like, oh my God, we're gonna get, you know, a meter of snow, and everyone gets really hyped on that, and then we get no snow. But we have a big storm coming. I always get excited about it because whether you like it or not, everyone just gets stuck inside, and it just, to me, provides even more opportunity of dreaming up what you want your future to be, setting goals for 2021, thinking about what can be, and how can I get there? You know, what my strategy should be to get another, you know, maybe it's another role that I can be executing at work and my corporate job. Can I work with the university and develop something additional? Or quite frankly, just thinking about the remodel of the house and you know, what that's going to look like. So please, please, please think about your personal brand. Design it for yourself. You can be anything you want. But you're going to have to, it's work, you know, whether you like it or not. If you want to be in shape, you have to eat right and exercise, right? You can't out exercise a bad diet. So it's kind of the same way. You kind of have to put some work into it. So definitely make sure that it's something that's part of what you do on a regular basis. And I am serious. Please take advantage of having that conversation with me. You know, book a time. Let's talk through what you're trying to achieve in 2021. Let's talk about what you're trying to achieve in the next couple of years. You know, what are the different strategies you might want to consider from planning standpoint? How not to get overwhelmed. And I know you guys have so much going on. You have your finals now, and you're thinking about, you know, there's all these all the finals you need to prep for. At the same time, you're finishing some of your courses. But I want you to continue keeping your eyes on the prize. Keep thinking about that internship. Keep thinking about you want to continue thinking about what that internship is going to look like. What do you want it to look like? How you can get it, and then how that's going to take you to your future. Here's another question. Is there a difference between a personal brand of a man or a woman? I think there are different attributes that you can consider for yourself, but I absolutely don't think that there is a big difference about how you want to show up in the world. You know, or if you want to be caring, you can be a caring woman or a caring man. You know, if you want to be innovative, you want to be an innovative woman or an innovative man. To me, you can be whatever you want to be. I'm going to give you an example. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but we all know about American football, right? And it's a male-dominated game. There are no female teams that really want to be hostile with each other. But the college team from the University of Vanderbilt now has a female kicker. So there are no limits. This female player is now part of the team. So If that's your goal, if that's your dream, it can be anything you want. You just have to define what it is that you want to be and how you want to show up in the world. So, again, listen, I think that, no, I don't think that there's a difference. I think that you can be anything you want. Number two is, I think you have to, regardless, you have to continue educating yourself, right? I'm a huge fan of Jim Rohn, of Napoleon Hill, of quite a few. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these books, but these books allow you to set goals. High Performance Habits is one of the most beneficial books that I've read, that I really find. It's 6 habits that really allow you to move forward. And around personal branding, when you think about how do I continue educating myself, please start with the article. I really need you to go back and understand, what does it mean to create this Me Incorporated? And the article, from Fast Company, you can Google it. It's available. Start there. Start thinking about what this personal brand is going to look like for you, what it means to develop one, and go from there. So let me see. Are there any other questions that we might have? I don't think we have any more questions. So, Natalia, I don't know if we want to finish at this point, or if there are any additional items that I could share.
Last question is about book for reading. I don't think we have any more questions.
Yeah, I think that starting with the article on the article that I mentioned at the beginning. So the author of the article is Tom Peters, and the name of the article is The Brand Called You. I would really encourage you to start there, read and understand what personal branding is all about. This would be a fantastic start.
Thank you very much. Some question, guys? I think that's all.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for the time. Again,
personal branding is some new for us, for Russian students, and we have to have some times for thinking about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I think anything new requires some time to digest. I can tell you personal branding is real. It is something that we talk about in our corporate setting on regular basis. It really helps your career development. I can tell you it's a very important piece of how you're going to be known in the company. You can be known for something good, or you can be known for something bad. So it's up to you to decide whether you're going to be very intentional about setting that up, putting that together, and managing it, right? You have to manage what the perception of you is out there, or you can be, you can kind of ignore it and not really pay attention and go from there. So again, guys, if you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'm always happy to connect with our students. I can see appointments coming in already, so fantastic. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Please reach out, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yulia, thank you very much for wonderful presentation, for this new information about personal brands. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.